Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel. Hello.
Hello.
I'm welcoming Melanie back to her home because she wasn't in her home for a few days. So she's back and she's tired, guys. So we'll do our
So
best.
tired. We will do our best. You will hear me probably giggle more. Words will be difficult, but I hope you can decode everything I say because you've been listening for so long.
Well, as opposed to every other Friday, we're like cracked out tired and like words just don't come. Like sometimes I'm editing and I'm like, I don't think I finished pronouncing that word. And I'm like, good luck, everyone. Good luck, everyone. I can barely understand me. Um, okay, so any announcements? Okay, so our Gold Star Awards are coming soon. So if any of
Yes.
you have fun categories, just message them to us and we'll see about adding them to this year's list. So the Gold Star Awards are going to be starting, I think I said probably the 23rd, if that makes sense. Who knows? Who knows? But we're back. So we're
Just keep
back
checking
next.
our page.
Yeah. So today we're the 13th, I think. And then next week we'll be recording once again. And then after that, we're breaking for the holidays, which is when our Gold Star Awards kick off. Also, for anybody who wants to get the Cutie Pie coloring book for somebody for the holidays, you can buy it on Amazon, color and name your character. But also, we made a Instagram page for it called Cutie Pie Coloring Book. Nope, it's called Cutie Pie Coloring. Cutie Pie Coloring, and send your pictures and they'll get posted. So basically, we're just posting anybody who's colored the pages. They shared them with me, and I just keep posting them. Basically, so yeah,
I
you get to
love it. It's
feature your coloring
adorable.
stuff. You know, so now it's
Hmm.
like you won't feel guilty if you throw your kid's page away because you're like some crazy lady is storing them on Instagram. So you're good. Let's toss them. So, okay, speaking of crazy,
Yeah.
I did not expect today. I don't even know what to say. Like I can't really start talking about anything else right now after another death. Are you numb to them now?
Honestly, because you know how we say, like, oh, I wish I was surprised and the internet didn't ruin everything. I'm like, oh my God, I was not mentally prepared for this. Is this for real? Are they faking it because there's a case and they're making like some sort of like big story to catch Cyrus? And I'm like, I think he's legit leaving. And then I Googled it afterwards. I'm not numb. I'm just really confused because soap
Yeah.
operas are supposed to be fun and a little bit of amnesia and some affairs that last a little longer and are a little hotter and the mingling and all that stuff and just all this death is just it's very hard to handle.
Like 2 out of 3 of every one of Joss's boyfriends die. It's
Oh
not
la
a good
la.
look, right? Like
No,
she
she's
caught the
Michael.
curse. Yeah, she caught the
Yes.
curse. She caught the Michael. And so this is really intense because we started watching and Johnny's like anything on the beep because the beep happened yesterday and I'm like
Yes.
that cannot be. And so then I was like, oh, the beep, Joss. Like, I'm like, okay, that's a fun way to pick up from yesterday because sometimes, like, it's been a while now, but like, you'll get like a new story that pops in literally like halfway through the show.
Yes.
You'll get like, yeah. So this one was probably my favorite because it's like the doors opened up and we have the beat from the day before. So I thought that was really cool, but it was really eerie. You know, the floor was empty. Joss is
Yes.
following the sound, and I'm just like, no, this cannot be happening. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, so now it's like serial killer vibes. And I'm
Yes.
assuming the autopsy will show the same thing at Sam. So at this point, I'm thinking eyes off Elizabeth and more just like a scarier thing. And so I'm
Yes.
like, are they going to finally make Felicia like a detective in the hospital? Like it's its own jurisdiction, just like how the WSB, like the World Bureau of Security or something of the sort, has a special location in Port Charles that maybe she could have a special jurisdiction.
We always want more for
I
Felicia,
know. I
so
just
here's to
can't.
hoping.
Yeah, because it's the only thing to me that, like, her being an advocate makes zero sense to me. What would make
Yeah.
way more sense is if she was just granted jurisdiction of hospital crimes.
Love
Oh
it.
my
Love
God,
it.
I love that. Hi. You know, like when they say, hi, I'm John,
Yes.
homicides. Hi, I'm Felicia. Hospital crimes. Hospital crime unit. That's so good. Oh,
So good.
it's so good. But back to Dex being dead. I'm not. It's like earlier this week, I'm giggling because I snapped a photo of his abs because I was supposed to put something together and throw in the abs by like mistake, wink, wink. And so then
Yes.
this happens, and I'm just like, but none of it makes sense. Like, have they seen his
No.
face? So there's that.
Yes.
He showed us his abs. The
Yes.
chemistry with Jocelyn.
Off
Like,
the
what do
wall.
you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, you literally like scrapped the Cameron and Joss relationship because the heat was so hot between these two.
Yes.
I am so at a loss.
And that's the hard part. It's like, okay. And I think it's because a lot of the focus is on the younger generation. I consider like Joss, Trina, and those
Yeah.
people of the younger generation. There's so much loss, like
So is
between
he too
Sam being
old?
gone. He's got a career. I don't know, but I'm just confused as to what the heck does Joss do with this now? Like her journey has taken such a turn between Oscar, everything happening with Dex, her change and what she wants to do in school, her figuring out who she is and kind of like readjusting to accepting happiness, having Dex back in her life, and then here we are.
I just think it's really odd between Trina and Joss. It's like, no, your boyfriend's dead. No, no, my boyfriend's dead. It's like weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Now they need to change friends because I'm like, what if it's like put them
Them.
two together? Exactly.
I don't even know what to say. I feel like I have more things to say about Dex being dead because I just like I can't. Like I'm just saying, just when I feel
Hmm.
like, ooh, I'm getting a sense or maybe this is good, that happens. Like I just there was why? Like there are I'm just like I don't want to say it,
Yeah.
but I mean
This
there
is
are
off the
options.
record.
Yeah, off the record, there are options, you know? There are just options. And I just figured of all the visual options, that wouldn't have been one of them.
You
You know
should.
what I mean? Like
Yes.
there's so many there's options. I just can't with this. And plus, I was having a good time. I was about to post a story that I hadn't put together yet about the mistletoe because I was like, that mistletoe has got some miles on it. Because what I couldn't understand, logistics corner, Joss goes back to the lot with Dex. They
Yes.
stand next to the tree that is already at Joss's apartment being decorated by Gio and
Oh
Trina.
my word. I did not notice that. That's a great catch.
And then they're holding the mistletoe, and then that mistletoe was dragged through town, you know, just all over the place. And like I have so many pictures of the mistletoe's journey, including one where it's on the bed and about to be
Oh
crushed.
yeah.
And so I don't know, like I'm just so hurt. Like what what about the apartment? I don't even know. Oh, anyways, I can't. So yeah, so that is like hugely enormous. Like Lulu has barely been back. Barely been back.
Oh god, I cannot.
And
Hmm.
her barely being back also means Sam has barely been dead. How weird
Exactly.
was it for you to see her again this week?
I have it's very difficult because they took all the parts of Lulu that used to annoy the bejesus out of us and just
Yes,
crammed it into this week of her being on the show. So it was real hard.
so good. It was so good. But how
Yeah.
did you feel when you saw this scene with Sam?
Oh my gosh. I was like, what is happening? Like, is Cyrus really truly doing this for like his niece's happiness so she can have Dante? Like, I am struggling to understand how this is the end.
And how was her life? How was Lulu's life better without Dex?
Well, it's better for Cyrus because of Sam.
Oh, right. Okay, full circle moment, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Gather around, gather around. That's the exact shape we're going for. Okay, yes, I
Let's
feel
watch
you.
the dots connect. Let's watch them,
Yes.
guys.
Yes. I get it. No, but it's weird. Like I have no idea what his motive was. And I was so mad. I was just so grossed out. I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's sleeping and you're doing this and you're killing her for no reason. And then when he touched her head, I was like, ew, what are you doing? Get out. So it was like I was so happy to see her. But as you
Yes.
out, like Lulu is Lulu. First of all, eerie. They get an actress who looks exactly like the Lulu before, not the recent one, the one before that.
Yes.
And the way she behaves, like they captured it
So
perfectly.
good.
Because sometimes you're like, am I reading this right? Because we saw Lulu a certain type of way, and she was a lot. Like
A
she was a lot.
lot.
It's like when she was with Dante, there were times where I'm like, he's got to be like losing his mind, uber annoyed. She peaked annoyance with like Nathan, and even with Charlotte. There were times where like I felt horrible because it's like Nina, active was like trying to kind of keep them apart. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
remember Lulu found out it was her daughter and it was a lot for her. And she made some wrong moves. But at first, I was really feeling for Lulu, right? She was really being left out of it all. Charlotte had bonded with Nina, and Nina really like held on to that. And so it was hard watching Lulu get like a little bit like rejected and pushed to the side. But then
Yes.
but then about Charlotte, it was also annoying Lulu. You know what I mean? Like the fights with Valentine and stuff around Charlotte, like the way I just felt like she was just too much and too possessive in that sense. So
Yes.
I don't know what to say other than like, regardless of the situation, the end result is always the same. Somehow you're annoyed with Lulu.
Well, what I loved is when you're talking about Dante because his face was how
Mm-hmm.
I was feeling when he saw her at Windermere.
Mm-hmm. I
And
love
sitting
that.
through all of what she's saying and her logic, I'm like, Dante, your face is beautiful.
Oh my gosh, like, I'm like, "That coat, like, wow, that outfit." I'm like, "Grieving, are we?" And I'm like, "You're back at work?" Like, I was thinking so much about Dante. I had so much going on. But, like, yeah, that's the thing with Lulu is that I find that they're doing a good job. That I felt like was really well captured because how they're presenting her
Yes.
is exactly as how I remembered her, and watching Dante react kind of validates for me that I feel like that is the exact difference of between Sam and Lulu is that Sam was not Lulu in
Yep.
certain ways. And I felt like that's what's making it work is all the parts of Sam that were not Lulu. And then to watch, I know I'm watching Dante see it. Like
Right?
I know Dante is like, I know what I had, and there is you. And there you are. And like the fact that he made that sarcastic comment, he's been that. Like Dante's been that since his character has returned years ago. Just
Yes.
very sarcastic, says what he has to say, and to say like, "Oh no, she's just a danger to herself."
Yes. That was amazing.
Okay, something else that drives me nuts. If I happen to hear like she's a Spencer one more time, and I'm like, what I'm hearing is she's a Spencer. So it's an excuse for her to be reckless. Like they're trying to paint her as like a hero. It's like Sam is a
It's so
McCall.
weird.
She had that name and she earned everything, right? She
Oh,
earned
yes.
her like street cred. She earned it all. The con woman. She knows what she's doing. Lulu has always been the girl who was trying to live up to her family name. That is
Yes,
always what
absolutely.
she's been. And she's been reckless in doing that. And it's so strange having her back post all these really interesting conversations, like Laura telling Lucky, like, running away and being in the world, that's your home. Like it wasn't right what we did.
Yeah.
It wasn't ideal. He's like, your sister had more of a stable home, but you were on the run with us. And at the end of the day, that's what feels like home to you. And that's what you do. Like other people go home when they're hurt and upset. That wasn't how you grew up. And like we played a role in that. So like there was
Yes.
this validating moment where she's like, yeah, you didn't just get here by yourself. Little dysfunctional. Me and your dad
Just
had a
a
part to
little.
play. Meanwhile, like you have Lulu coming back, still expressing the same stuff. Like, and remember, everyone's like, coma for 4 years. Yes, but it's only been 4 years. For all of her life, Lulu's been doing the same crap. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
exactly.
And so the whole idea of like, man, I wish I grew up with you guys. I'm like, no, like, no. Like no, like you know what I mean? Like we know better. Like would you like if you think it's so cool, then why are you looking for Charlotte? Isn't it the coolest that Charlotte's on the run with her dad?
Right? Oh
Isn't
my
that everything
word.
Lulu admires? So anyway, so like now she's on a mission. So 4 years out of a coma and months late, and the fact that she's been gone since July, and I'm laughing because I'm like, no, that tracks. I understand there's a coma, but take the coma away, and I'm
I
pretty
know.
sure we would still be seeing these exact same scenes. So her showing up to see Nina, what
Amazing.
did you think?
It was amazing because she's still in rivalry mode. She still knows
Yes.
Nina back in the day. And the fact in this scene that, we know who Lulu is and Nina has grown. Like she still has growing to
Yes.
do. But if that Nina is the voice of reason in this situation
My
always
mind,
makes me giggle.
my mind was so messed up. Was so messed up,
Right?
right? Because like honestly, the feud with Lulu and Nina was really rough to watch because I
Yeah.
guess I guess I guess it was hard to like either of them when that was happening.
Well, right?
And it was hurtful both ways and it was tough to watch. But this was weird because I'm like, oh, Lulu, I know your daughter's missing, but you're so annoying. Like
Right?
she's been gone since July. Everyone knows, and whatever, we're trying. And the fact that she's like going at Nina, and I feel the need to be like, oh my God, dude, like she knows nothing. Like your whole method, it's exactly what Anna does. You're lying.
Yes.
I have asked you a question. You're lying. And I'm like, how like that can only work so long. So not only is Lulu like you're lying to Nina, she says the same thing to Brennan. Oh my gosh.
Right.
So she's there with Nina and having them go back and forth. Like I loved how Nina called her and all her stuff, but I'm laughing because I'm like, is this her growth? Because she's like, the world didn't stop for you. You feel like the world owes you something. And I kind of
Right?
I really felt that when Nina said it, she finally gets that the world doesn't owe her anything for all the bad stuff that's happened to her. I finally
Yeah, I
like
think so.
I feel like those words were not just because it's so different from when Nina used to say things that were opposite land. Nina used to say things to other
Right.
people that directly applied to her, and you'd watch it go over her head. And as a viewer, you're like, this is completely insane. But to watch that scene and be like, yeah, Nina is super sane. I connected with her in this moment was wild.
Right.
Wild.
Well, especially she's speaking from experience to boot. Like
Yes.
her world did stop. She was looking for her daughters. Like if there's anybody that gets it, it's Nina.
Yeah, but what they did was highlight this week that Laura gets it.
Hmm.
Just so you know, Mel, Laura gets it. And Drew's a bad guy. And so
So bad. Cyrus is creepy.
yes, he's creepy. And so, anyways, I absolutely love that whole interaction. And everybody was rightfully like annoyed by her. And Nina did pretty good not having like security like do too much. But then when
Yes.
she's like throwing around Carly's name, like my cousin owns this hotel, I'm like, you're so lucky you woke up
I
4 years
know.
later
I
and not
know.
3 because that would not have worked at all. So, then you would
So
have
funny.
then you would have to say my mother-in-law, I mean my ex mother, somebody knows me here. And it's just like, wow, the people are quite accomplished, I must say.
Right?
What about you, Lulu? All she's got going for her is like she she's
She
a Spencer. She and that's why she woke up from the coma. No, it wasn't the transplant, it was Sam genes, okay? It was Sam DNA that woke her butt up. That's what that
okay.
was.
Yes. Okay. So a couple of things that you just reminded me of. I was just picturing her in my flashback videography memory
Hmm.
that she's missing her backpack. She's missing her backpack
Yes.
and her notes. Take notes to write for whatever it is she was doing. I do really hope that Lulu, is inspired by all of these women and does kind of balance out a little bit and do something great at the end of the day.
Okay. I mean,
I know
yeah,
I barely believe myself when I say it.
I
So,
know, but it's more fun this way. Like I like that's the thing. Like we saw Maxie's journey and she mellowed, right? And she grew.
yes.
I can't picture that with Lulu. Like I can't see her getting there, but she could if they wanted it to, but I can't see it.
But which makes the story even more interesting because of all the reasons we've said before. Everybody around her has grown. Even a Maxie, like everybody
Yeah.
who's like hugging her and interacting with her, they're very concerned because their choices and who their friends are now and what they've gone through in the past 4 years is all things that Lulu wouldn't understand or approve of or grow from.
No, and it's gonna be tough, right? The Brooklyn stuff hasn't even come up. So
Hmm.
now she finally sees Carly and sets her straight. So we have to remember now, Carly's just come from the conflict with her and Brennan. Ugh,
Oh
what
boy.
like
You lie. I don't trust you. I'm like, what is this? What is happening?
I'm like
Who
Carly,
are these people?
Carly is not naive.
No,
Carly is not Anna. Carly is not
no.
Curtis. You don't go up to people like, remember Curtis to Jordan? You don't tell me everything. No, she doesn't tell you everything about her job. And
No.
Carly, given that she was married to Sonny and she knows that some things are off limit, I find it off limits. See what I mean? Like off limit. Like who knows what I said? Who knows what I said? But like he's like a WSB person. So like for her to be like, I can't trust you, he's a spy. And he's
Yeah,
also questioned you for trusting him. He's done that. You went to
yeah,
see him in jail. He tried to use you as like a hostage. So her doing that, like I'm just mad because, like I said, my concern is that the character right now of Carly doesn't have a solid storyline.
yeah.
And it's like I'm staring at it. I was like looking at, like, if you squint hard enough, I'm like, maybe we'll find a storyline. He was laughing.
Maybe.
I'm like, literally, they've moved her up to flirt fighting. That's what's happened. Flirt
Yeah.
fighting. And I'm like, amazing. And then she brings Lulu into the whole thing. And then Lulu's acting, she broke his phone.
Yes. It's
And then
expensive.
Carly's telling her to calm down. Maxie finally gets her moment. That girl has been all over town looking for her. But then when she walks in, she apologizes to Carly. Carly leaves them her office, which is fair because like Maxie's office is constantly in use by like everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But in that moment, I was like, it's what I've been saying, and I do feel that like Maxie is definitely like the new Carly.
Yes, absolutely.
I thought that ages ago when I saw them sit on a chair, and I felt like it was the transferring of power in that moment.
Yes.
And yeah, like I'm really hoping that you're going to use someone like her. I mean, right now it was so fun to watch Carly back in action today. Like I will say
Y-
that.
yes.
So maybe we should just say that and we should talk about that. So the moment they're like, let's watch TV. Oh, input. TV's not working. It was like, oh no, it's gonna go down. It's
It's
gonna go
happening. It's
down.
happening, guys. It's happening.
Someone, if it says input, someone is gonna stream this at one point. And like clockwork, Michael comes in and is like, let me stream the game. I was like, is it gonna happen right now? But if you follow it, because remember, Michael's the one who streams it from his phone.
Yes.
He puts the phone in his pocket. Tracy grabs the remote control and then
Uh-huh.
eventually messes with the phone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that part didn't
It's
make sense. But
confusing.
yeah, but
Yes.
we knew it was going to happen. So while everyone's there, like, Tracy's horrible. She waits till everyone's
She
like
is.
peak interested, is like, not anymore. There's like one
How
second
dare
left in the
you?
game. Yeah, 1 second left in the game. She's like, no, thank you. So at this point, it's weird. You have like, it's actually quite a few people at the
Mm-hmm.
Quartermains, an interesting combination. So right now, at the point of this party, I'm annoyed because like Willow was like full on with Drew, like no
Oh yeah.
either one of them. And at this point, I'm also kind of annoyed that like everybody has something to say about Drew. Like
Yes.
I get it from Nina's perspective. She's trying to
Mm-hmm.
protect Willow, but like she's telling Drew, don't you have a call somewhere? Like she's having a hard time with the fact that he's cozying up to Willow.
Yes.
And then he talks about Scout being the reason. This is
Mm-hmm.
what grossed me out. For Nina to be the one, how could you use your grieving daughter to kind of have this access with Willow? But the point is, Willow has no shame either because
Exactly.
when Drew and her were talking, I'm like, are you honestly flirting based off of Sam's death? Because he
I
starts to
know.
say like, you can't give someone what you want. Like I can't give Scout her wish of her mother back.
Uh-huh.
And then she's like, yeah, it's hard when you can't give someone what they want. I was like, what? Like,
What's
did
happening?
you
What
actually
is
say that?
happening?
So you have her saying that, literally flirting around Sam. And then you have Nina kind of pointing out that that's awful to Drew. And all this time, they're highlighting the fact that Carly doesn't know.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man. And then I loved it at the end when it came on. I was just upset because at this point, the only reaction we got yesterday was Michael's.
Yes.
How excited were you to see everybody else's reactions today?
Oh my God, it was wild. Because I knew like Tracy would have the funniest reaction, but then you have like the younger generation
Yes.
there. And then you have Carly there, who's like a bit in the dark. Sasha, like like Chase's face, like it was amazing. It was the moment that I loved the most.
Well, Chase definitely had thoughts because on Thursday's episode, he was like, I really don't like the fact that Drew's not leaving her alone. Fair point. But at
Yeah,
this point, I'm like, but why is no one? Because like Brooklyn keeps saying Willow can handle herself. And
it,
I'm like, but that's the point. She's not.
she's not.
And not one part of her looks awkward. She looks like she's milking it. They wouldn't stop staring at each other. And Sasha clearly feels a type of way about the whole thing. So
Yes.
when they're on the screen, like I was this is what surprised me. Joss has the reaction, but then Geo is the only one. Like they're showing people,
Uh-huh.
but Geo's the one who turns back to look at Willow.
Yeah. And what he said.
I know. Did he
Oh.
like he immediately thought of Sunny? I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, okay. And yeah, Tracy was amazing because even when things heat up and they're arguing, she still has a smile on her face.
I love her so much.
How
Amazing.
how much were you like kind of shocked, but also like excuse me, yelling back at your TV when Willow goes up to Michael and was like, "You did that? Like you recorded it?" Like, were you not just like,
Oh, I knew the minute she started walking over to him, it was going to be about the video and not, I'm sorry you had to see that. Whatever it is you can say to at least put forward an apology or something. And I loved that Carly stepped in because that's how I felt. Like Carly was my voice in that moment.
oh yeah, because like at one point even Olivia's like, oh, Michael could speak for himself, but like he couldn't. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
the point. Like he can't. He's his hands are tied in the defending himself
Yeah.
department. Like he doesn't have many moves, right? Other than leaving her. And if he wants to
Yeah.
work things out, it takes a lot, right? It takes a lot because it's painful having to deal with the fact that she did that and Drew and all that stuff. Like yes, he had his own infidelity and he tells Sasha, I'm gonna tell Willow also, but just not that it's you.
Yes.
But again, to me, that that part didn't count. For me, I was just like, excuse you to come up to Michael and to
Mm-hmm.
start like accusing him of things and saying, oh, and her actually doing the math to
I
figure
know.
out when he knew. And I'm like, yeah, that's when he knew. And that's when he asked you questions pretty directly. And so, how
Exactly.
many times from that point and after did you lie? And you lied because Drew asked you to lie, not because you were putting your marriage first, putting Michael first, and figuring out what the next best step would be to build your life back together. You decided to keep lying, and you did it for Drew,
Oh. Oh.
which makes what Carly had to say even more right. You found someone who would put you first above all else.
So good. So good.
I love that. And I love that she pointed out everything that Michael gave her
Mm-hmm.
because he gave her a ton, a ton. I just wish it had come from Michael. And I really wish Michael had called her out on just the fact that like he asked her the truth multiple times, being like, "You're right.
Yes. Same.
I did know. I knew, and I watched you. I watched you cozy up to him. I watched you not take distance. I watched the ways that you lied in front of my face, lied by your actions, just the way that you interacted with him, that you still pursued close contact, even though you did what you did and claimed to regret it. And then that I asked you over and over, and I asked Drew, and both of you lied. Like, don't stand here and talk to me about knowing things and not doing it."
Yes.
So I kind of wish he had that moment because like his moment was with Drew, to be honest, was lackluster because they left
I
off at
agree.
like Drew being like, "You don't know anything about me and Will," and he's like, "Tell me." I'm like, "No, Michael, no, no."
No, no, no. That's not the response,
You're like, "Tell
man.
me, tell me about your connection." Yeah,
About
that'll
the fireworks.
that'll
How did
show
that
you.
work?
Yes. I was like, no, like you're losing ground. Like you're losing ground and
Oh,
probably
poor
your children.
baby.
Yeah. So when Carly runs up the stairs, I was excited. I'm like, is she chasing Willow? Is she? Because like the whole time, like when they were still there, I was like, Carly just left. I don't know if it's to chase Willow, but I said I'm surprised Nina didn't go after her. And then I'm
Yes.
looking around and I can't see Nina. And then we
Hmm.
catch them. The worst thing is like Nina's not wrong with what she
I
said.
know. I
She's like
know.
not wrong. But like I'm not sure it matters much. Like if Willow takes the kids, I don't know. Like I don't know. Does it give her like a leg up having taken them?
No.
So I don't think it helps anything. It would give Michael reason to pursue something that he may
Like
not
more,
have pursued otherwise.
yes, more motivation to just be
Yeah.
more harsh with the situation as opposed to being the person he is. Like that definitely will level things up.
I wonder what Carly's gonna do. If she's gonna call Michael, if she's gonna say, "Hey guys, we're gonna go say bye to Daddy. Let's go all see Daddy right now." Because like I don't know what she's gonna do, but I don't think she's gonna let them leave that place or let Michael like be unaware. And the woman who has kicked him out of the house, like you kept him from his kids.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's so funny how it makes you look back at the relationship so differently to be like, he cowered to her a lot. He kind of
you
gave
did.
in to things. And she was harsh, like she's not perfect. And I find like that part was done right because Willow's had her journey,
Hmm.
but we're at a part where it's like, she definitely has more layers to her. You question things because we all went along with Saint Willow. We all went along with it.
Yes.
Like she always turned the other cheek and blah blah blah. But there were times where she wasn't that, and it was never called out. Like, she wasn't fair to Michael. It's been a while now she's not been fair to him.
Oh yeah, big
And I'm
time.
not
And
talking
keeping
about Drew
things.
stuff, yeah.
I know, totally.
So and then the interesting conversation between Chase, Sasha, and Brooklyn, where
Oh
Chase
my
goes,
word.
"Maybe we shouldn't have played God with Willow and Michael because maybe they weren't meant to be." And I
Hmm.
heard that and I gasped. I'm like, "Do you understand what you're implying? Do you not remember that at the time Michael was with Sasha?"
Yeah, exactly.
And I felt it's been like months. So, like, months that they've been bringing back the Michael Sasha history because for like a
Yes.
long time, that was really like they're not really in scenes together. It wasn't really touched on. And then out of nowhere, like Michael's in these weird scenes with Cody being like, "What are your intentions with her?" Or they bring up the fact that they hooked up. And it was like so weird because it was like, he's not the most recent ex. Like she was married and had a baby. Remember we talked about it? I'm like,
Yes.
why are you bringing this up? So they definitely
So
been
true.
pointing at Michael and Sasha for a long time now before anything truly ever happened.
It's so true, but I loved, okay, so here's the thing. Like I know it's going to be a short-lived secret her having his baby, but that moment when Carly runs in and wonders like who's
I know.
prenatal vitamins, and then Sasha, like, she covered herself really well, but then when she the way the love eyes she has for Carly was just like, oh, it was so cute because like I can absolutely see them being this like really great family because unlike Willow, Sasha understands all the nuances of Michael's life.
Yeah. Like they didn't have that. They didn't have the same what?
No, we get just like half a beat, and maybe I'm wrong, but like, there was a big conversation with Sunny and Natalia about how he has all these kids and he like keeps them together. Like,
Yeah.
is Sasha going to be like wife number two of the many kids that Michael will have down the road?
What do you mean wife number two?
So, you know how like Sunny has been married multiple times and he has multiple kids
Yeah.
from many different mamas. But Natalia highlighted this week that Sunny has a really great way of keeping his kids together, building a relationship with them. Even though they're all from different families, he has a way of bringing them together. And now we have Michael, who has, two kids. Now he has another kid on the way with Sasha. Like, is he the up and up version of Sunny who has multiple children with women? Like, is he a version of Sunny basically, but on the other side of the tracks?
Look, yeah, he's in that situation where he has kids with Willow and he will be having this baby with Sasha. I can see them being good partners together,
I
Sasha and
can't
Michael.
too.
She really stood up for him in that conversation with Chase and Brooklyn, saying that like Michael didn't do anything and neither did we. Like it's really
Yeah.
to Willow, and it's really funny though because I believe that too, even though like she slept with Michael. Like it's
I
like
know.
like it's
But
it's it's just
it was after. It
exactly.
doesn't count.
Exactly, it was a reaction to everything, and also, like, it's just really interesting because it's, like, given the dynamic between Sasha and Tracy,
Mhm.
that, like, she's pregnant with, like,
Ooh.
a quartermain.
Yes,
Like, that's
yes.
not a small thing, and I've always felt like regardless with Sasha, she was definitely family, like, to Carly and Sunny. I mean, yes, she
Oh,
went with
yeah.
Brando, but she was always part of the family, and so was Chase at the end of the day after because Carly knew what they did. Like, even before Michael realized, like, Michael was grieving because he thought Sasha cheated, but she never
Yes.
did. And Carly
Yeah.
knew that from the beginning. And there was that bond between her and Carly because Carly is like, my family owes you because of what you did for
Yes.
Michael in order to keep Wiley. And she thanked Chase for it as well. So she definitely has that place. And yes, I think she did very much understand. And you know what? She highlighted it today. She's like, I don't judge. And I mean,
Yeah.
Willow did, like, let's face it.
Yes, of course.
But it's so crazy to watch her with Nina like that. Like Nina having her back in that way.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and to see her on that side of the line and she'll get to understand what it is to go up against Carly. Like she made a
She sure
choice.
will.
She made a choice
Hmm.
and like yeah, Drew will walk away pretty clean and he pretty much told everybody, "You can release that video, but like it's not going to hurt me." Like it's just not.
Right. I know.
It's
So
going to
bad.
it's going to hurt Willow, it's going to hurt the kids, but like it's just not. And even moving forward, like what happened? It's bad for Willow. It's putting the custody of her kids in question.
Yes, absolutely. Big time.
So that's pretty intense.
So
Oh,
fascinating. So fascinating.
ugh, speaking of intense. Speaking of intense. So like again, did not know how this week was going to shake out.
Yeah.
And so when I saw Anna go see Dex, I was actually
Oh,
surprised
yeah.
that she remembered that she's in charge of employees and not just Jason, as she believes she is.
Don't even get me started on Jason. You do your Anna part, and I'm gonna lay into Jason a little bit.
Okay. And so when she was in the room with Dex, she's like, Officer Jackson, was it? I'm like, you would know your people if you did your job. Like, I think it's just so intense and also an interaction because remember I had said, and I couldn't put it into words properly a couple episodes back where I said, in terms of what I felt they were trying to do, they're calling a lot on the history.
Yes.
And it's just funny how they're calling back on old history, like Maxie referring to her time with Lucky.
Yeah.
And just a lot of it, everybody is recalling like things like Drew even listing all of Ned's affairs.
Yes.
Like it's awkward because it's like you don't even know Catherine Bell. Like
Right?
yes, we met Lois, but it's so strange. And I love like I told Johnny, I'm like, wow, that's like a high bar. But I love like the standard for the Quartermains is like we don't sleep with nieces. Like
Right?
honestly,
Oh,
that's the line.
so
Like
bad.
Alan would have never slept with like a nephew's wife, but either like you know what I mean? Like he would
Yeah,
never
yeah,
do
totally.
that. And I'm just sort of like, okay, okay, great. Alan was a great guy because he would never sleep with a nephew's wife.
Yes, yes. Stand up guy.
Monica, it doesn't count because she didn't know Ned was her nephew.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And had he known it was his aunt, he wouldn't have done it. I'm just like dying. I'm dying because,
Right?
like, again, Drew's a bad guy, but not
Bad
really.
guy.
All he's done, as Brooklyn pointed out, was live up to the Quartermain name.
Truly.
So the thing that kind of I thought was strange, since we're picking up on all of this history, the thing is, the last interaction Joss had with Anna, because she had burst into the room when Anna was already there, and they had like a gentle hello. But the
Hmm.
last time Joss and Anna were alone, Joss went to go tell her off and told her that if Dex died, it would be on her head. It'd be like on her
Ooh,
shoulder.
yes.
And
Yes.
so I just thought it was so interesting how you're making a point of drawing on like the past, but that and I get
Got
it. I know
lost.
that Joss made peace with things and kind of realized that like it was not her decision to make ultimately.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that I thought was interesting because that's what I was comparing it to. I was surprised when Joss was like pointing at Sunny, being like, why he got stabbed.
Yes.
And I was like, not this again. I thought we were over this.
I
Like,
know. I can't.
I'm like, I mean, you're shaking things up, you're making things new. Like, leave that alone. So after all of that, in my head, ha ha ha, like you think you're in charge of Jason. I was like not happy with what followed.
No, I'm really annoyed. I mean, Anna is a continuous level of annoyance. But remember with Sunny, I was going back and forth all the time. And I feel the same with Jason. We're seeing him from a different perspective. It's not just like, who Jason works for Sunny. It's like Jason, the dad, Jason, whose son lost his mother,
Yeah.
Jason, who's new to town, Jason, who wants to live at the Quartermain house and try to be on the up and up. Why, for the love of everything good, are you spending time with this woman and potentially going off to Zurich to help her? Like, I cannot wrap my head around why this is happening.
Exactly. Like not only that, it was the fact that Lulu, like again, following up on 4-year-old plus leads is her first
Hmm.
steps after she knows that Brennan has access. Like she has a phone number.
Yeah.
She has a phone number.
Yeah.
And she knows that Spinelli is looking. Like Maxie kind of told her that that's what's happening. She gets a secret, but he's looking. And as an audience member, it's like all these other people have the resources. You know what I mean? Like they already know the location of Zurich.
Yes.
And there's Lulu doing a bunch of useless things.
It's busy work. Like a toddler, you give them some stuff to do.
Oh, it's just it's gross to watch. So it's like Jason, Martin, and then Anna walks in. And at this point, I understand that like Laura wants Charlotte to be found and she has Lulu consider. But I do hope that like Martin tells her, like, I just think it's disgusting. You just sat in an
Yes.
office with Laura. You helped her out with Cyrus. But the fact is, Laura loves Martin. They're
Mm-hmm.
very close. And the fact that you would do that, I think is nuts. And the fact that she's like, oh, you expect me to believe that you lost track of a client? Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
numbnut. He lost
Yeah.
track of a client. And what I find hard to believe, didn't Spinelli create this app accidentally that was illegal that allowed him to have access to data worldwide of like everybody's data?
Yep.
And access to things that he's not supposed to. Like he hacked the FBI for one. And so I'm just saying that if Spinelli couldn't find anything, like you have Spinelli working, so I have to assume you're checking like all basics, like money and all those things, accounts. So I'm just saying, like you never needed Martin. And the fact that you're pulling in another civilian and threatening him once again, because she did that again last time. She's like, I think Valentine's hiding something from me. And so she like used Martin and used Lucy. Like I
Mm-hmm.
am just so fed up and also fed up that Jason just blindly goes along with this crap. I really truly hope Laura finds out and does something to Anna. Like fire her.
Yes, I agree.
So what did you want to say about Jason?
Oh, just that he's a deadbeat dad.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I hear okay. Yes. Mhm. Yes, but Carly now understands why he punched Drew. And Drew must hate that. He's like, you always side with him. Like, you know what I mean? Like at that moment, Carly's like, you're full of it. But yeah, so I'm just okay. Another thing that really gets me is that
Yes.
Kate's murder is unsolved. Dex is stabbed, but she decides instead of talking to Martin, she actually decided that talking to Martin and just pleading, because the thing is she not doing this? She's pleading, except his hands are tied. Like, how did she decide that that was never an option to just talk to Martin
I
with like
know.
Laura present? So instead of like solving Kate's murder or like figuring out how one of her own got stabbed, she decided to stage all of this just so she can hang out with Jason. She even threw Carly under the bus, knowing the place would be swept.
Right?
Because it's like, well, if Carly's out of the picture, well, then I'll get more of Jason time.
Oh my gosh, I cannot. I cannot with the two of them. Like at this point, kind of like how we used to talk about Nina and Sunny. They were so
Mismatched.
illogical,
Yeah.
but it worked because they lived in the same land of Looney Tunes.
But
That
he doesn't.
Jason,
That's why it's harder to watch. You know what I mean? Because they're like, what is going on with you that you feel a loyalty to her? Is it perhaps your loyalty to Robin, her daughter? And you're not a little boy anymore. Like, I just find
well,
it
this is it.
like I can't. I just so disagree with it on so many levels, and like it's just the fact like that we had to watch Anna like literally help Valentine escape and flee.
Yep. Yeah.
And now she's like, I need to find him. And I'm like, this weird game you have of catch and release. It's like, I've had enough. And the funny thing is, it's like, no matter what she's doing, like Brennan is still ahead of her, being like, yeah, I want them to find him now.
I love it. I
Ugh.
love it hard.
But then you have like Jason be all protective, Carly leave. I was just hoping Martin would have screamed
Me too.
so she would like interrupt or like do something. So I don't know. It's like we've watched Jason argue with Anna about Carly. Like, I don't really know. I don't really know what's gonna happen there, but I'm just kind of annoyed.
I feel exactly the same. Like I can't understand the direction. I don't like seeing Jason make these choices. Anna is still being Anna, but she's leveling up a lot, and I'm tired of it.
What was sweet to me, as much as I
Mhm.
feel how I feel about Lucky and his choices, because to this day he's still not
Mhm.
sticking around for his son. He's like, I'm sticking around for the missions. That's how Elizabeth got him. Elizabeth, I want to help you. So it's like, I hate that he hasn't said, like, I'm staying for my kid. He's like, and she said it to someone else that he's staying for me.
Yeah,
And but I do like them together, and
me
it was
too.
so incredible. Like they did the whole Christmas thing together, and then like asking for the cookies and him saying all these things he knows about her. Like the nostalgia for me was just a lot in those moments. And the fact that like when he started singing, I'm like, okay, he's singing the song to her. And then the flashback,
Oh, oh, my heart, my heart.
that was
I just
incredible.
cannot.
Yeah, that was so worthwhile for me watching that. So that was definitely like a pleasure this week.
Mhm.
Um, what was rough? Well, you know what? When it comes to the Davis women, I have to say, like, we're finally getting the nuance that was missing.
Yes, thank you.
So that's helpful. Like, for the first time, Alexis said things that were healthy to do Molly. She said we can't tiptoe around Christina.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we all have to live our lives. I'm like, why was it so hard to say this? Like, why was it so hard to say, Molly, I love you and I'm so sorry that this has happened to you? Like, why was that so difficult just to make a teeny bit of space? Like Molly is not the kind who wants a lot, and so a text, a phone call would have gone a long way. And so I
Yes.
kind of like that they're living together, and it's interesting now that things have calmed and Molly has this space with her mom, because Alexis does understand what it's like to kind of go into robo mode. She made it
Yes.
clear that that's sort of how she became a lawyer. She gave up
Yeah.
Sam, and she just needed to not think about it, and she threw herself into her academics, and that's sort of like what happened. So that's like a huge bonding moment for the two of them. However, I am annoyed with Molly's perspective, as she says that TJ is upset, and it's because she's not grieving how he wants her to grieve. I feel like that is an oversimplification.
Yes, I totally
It's
agree.
not that you are not grieving how he wants you to, is that you refuse to let him in, you've cut him off,
Mhm.
and you are opening up, but you're doing it with other people. Like you're telling your mom how you feel, you're telling, Dex, oh gosh, how you feel, you're
Yeah.
telling your mother-in-law's man friend, boy toy, things, but you're just choosing not to kind of talk to TJ. And I'm not gonna diminish that that's a lot harder, but it's more that, he's not saying I want to see you cry, but you keep leaving him though,
No,
right? In
yes,
terms of like
exactly.
you're shutting off your emotions to protect you, but what ends up happening is that you keep walking out on him each time. And that's
Exactly.
and that's hard, and that's why he's also angry. I don't know, like I find it really sad, and I'm hoping that like as things calm, they could find their way back to each other. And I get it. They've been together a long time and maybe they want to mix it up, but I just thought, I don't know, I just kind of hope Molly just needed her own space to do her thing. And I do hope it's one of those couples that circle back to each other.
So she's gonna get Dex's apartment.
Oh, okay. All right.
In terms
Okay.
of real estate. Okay, we'll get back
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah,
name.
that makes sense. And the thing with Christina, it's like, look, dude, if you want to be in your head and being like the baby's name is Adela and she's all mine, there. But to tell Molly it wasn't her baby,
Oh my word.
calm. I was like, Christina, this is not one of those things where you're like, I was just speaking my truth. Like,
No.
your
No.
truth is yours. As long as you know it's true, you're good. You're good, bud. You didn't need to cross that line. And I like that finally, like, that Alexis spoke to her and said, like, it doesn't make her any less of a mother because she doesn't want to pursue vengeance. Like,
Exactly. I'm
thank
so glad.
you.
Oh,
So
so good.
yeah, so I kind of love that. I loved what Alexis went to go talk to her about, and just sort of for once showing. And you know what? You know what? Maybe this is a reflection that Alexis feels like Christina is strong enough to hear these things. And And Molly is right. Like I do think there were times legitimately like how, she almost died. So you can understand why Alexis, in those extreme times was like that with Christina. And I do
Mm-hmm.
think that like Natalia helps to create this contrast in terms of how people see her. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Natalia sees her strong, and I think it's fair to say that like Alexis does see her as weak. Like I think Sunny
Mm-hmm.
worries for her, but Sunny does acknowledge that she's capable and that she can get through this while also knowing that sometimes she might need support. But I do think that like Alexis truly sometimes looks at Christina like she's really weaker than she is. And that doesn't help because it makes Alexis tiptoe when sometimes it's not needed.
Well, that's exactly it. And for the first time this week, we didn't see her tiptoe. And I really
No.
loved the how they paralleled the scenes of Alexis and Molly with Sunny and Christina and the type of conversations they had and what truths they were telling them and what they would let them get away with. So Sunny, at this point, I feel, is
Mhm.
playing into the fact of what she's saying and just kind of going along
Yes.
with it, where
Yeah.
Alexis feels she's further along in her journey and that Christina is ready to hear hard truths.
Okay. Yeah, like it's kind of a bit scary because we all know the truth and we know that Christina knows the truth.
Exactly.
So that's rough. And also, when I was watching the scenes with her and her dad, I'm like, Christina, like, how long are we going to sit here and pretend that you don't know that he wants you to run Charlie's?
I know.
And interesting that they finally said her name. What's her name again?
Was it Phyllis?
Phyllis. Yes, that Phyllis went
Okay.
back to Nixon Falls. And I'm like, she must have a long time ago. And so this is what scared me. Okay. And we had wanted Christina to like own it for like a long time. We actually wanted her to work to run it with Julian because we actually kind of like their
Yes.
vibe. We really like their vibe together.
Yes.
Um so this is what scared me, but I was talking to someone, I was talking to one of our followers, and then they mentioned that what if she names the bar Sam?
I would love that a lot. Like,
I would love that a lot because I was scared that this cuckoo banana was going to name it
oh
Adela's.
crap.
I was
Yes, I didn't even think
scared.
of that.
But I mean, it would be pretty bad to name. Well, actually, that's not true because I was saying to name the bar after like a baby, but like technically they had changed the floating rib to Jake's
Right, right.
after Jake died.
Jeez Louise.
And yeah, so I got really scared because I'm like, they're trying to stay connected when they were already broken. So I'm glad that they didn't like let go and just was like Sam died, let's all be besties. So I'm glad that that's being handled and
Me
there's not
too.
just this automatic connection with Christina and Molly and the fact that she keeps saying you both lost the baby and you should be grieving together, but like let's be real, they can't. And so
Exactly.
it's best that they don't until they can. And I'm sure that they'll get there at some point, but they clearly need space from each other. Perhaps that will help kind of like undo whatever dynamic they have going on between them. So I was so happy when I got that suggestion that it could be called Sam's because she's taking off. She apparently closes it for a few weeks, and I'm like, what about your employees? And taking down the frames. So it's interesting to see what she's gonna do, but I would love for it to be called Sam's. I think that would be beautiful because I'm like, if you call it
Yes.
Adela, I'm like, that's
Oh, it's
horrible.
asking.
Like,
Yeah, so bad, so bad.
oh man, between her and Molly, but also I really didn't like how she brought up Sam. I just think that like I know you lost your sister, but you're here talking and you're talking about your baby. You're saying the things you're saying about Molly, which is your mother's daughter. She lost Sam and she's still doing her best, giving everything she can to Molly and Christina. And for her to say like I do need my sister, but I need Sam. And I just felt like
Ugh.
it's not that I deny that like she misses Sam, her sister, but I just
Mm-hmm.
felt like it was twisting the knife and moving away from like accountability in the conversation that they were having
Yes.
into to grief. And I liked that Alexis stayed on point by saying, well, this is what your sister would tell you. You know what I mean? Like you might miss your sister and you might want your sister here, but just so you know, she's not going to tell you anything different than what I'm saying. And
I
so
loved that.
so I did very much appreciate that. So I feel like I'm pretty good with the direction that's going.
Same. I like it.
So some little things. So there was like Curtis. Curtis. So like so he's telling, okay, I'm sorry. Not subtle. Drew. Gonna name me CEO? Drew, you're gonna do it? That's what I thought. Yes, Drew. I'm like, okay, you have to not talk like that. You sound like,
Right?
yeah, you sound like you're mad. You sound like you know something. I'm like, that's not subtle. Like, it's not subtle at all. So I found his like attempt there hilarious because he had previously spoken to Jordan, and to her, the solution was simple. You're getting played. You're not a quartermain. You're getting caught in their quartermain shenanigans. You should just like play them both. And the fact that he
Yes.
didn't even occur, like it didn't even occur to him, like he does not know how to play the game, right? Like Jordan
No.
was ready. She was ready with the next move. And he's like, I want to start a music program. And I'm just like,
Why? What's
Drew may
happening?
be a bad guy, but he's not wrong. Like you tried to be a cop, it didn't work. Then you ended up being a PI. Then you owned a bar. And then you just started like jumped into the corporate world and headed a division. No, you're not a CEO. So I was laughing because in my head when Michael was talking to him and he's like, no, Michael, I'm not down with your plan to take Aurora. I'm like, you shouldn't take Aurora because of like Scout and everything. But I was
Yeah.
laughing because I'm like, why did he change his mind about being CEO? Because I'm like, if you want to be CEO,
Right?
I think you're gonna take Aurora anyway. So I thought that was funny. But like even worse after was his conversations, like telling Jordan, like now I know I who I can trust. And then his wife comes in. I'm laughing. Like he
So good.
solidifies that relationship with Jordan. He clearly
Yes.
values her advice. And then his because I think he gets them confused as to which one is his wife. And then
Yes.
Portia comes in and I'm laughing because it's like there is like Curtis having all this respect for Jordan. I feel like he treats her as an equal and he doesn't with
Yes.
Portia. Like
Nope.
he just tells her everything after the fact. And she's all like, should I be worried? Like you're telling Jordan and not me. Meanwhile, Jordan is like the welcome committee for like Isaiah for like all of Port Charles, like eyeing him
Love.
down. I'm just loving it because like Jordan is like living her best life. She's doing her, she's
Right?
doing everything she wants, and Portia's still reeling.
She's always reeling.
I know. Oh my gosh. And some other funny stuff too. It was like I think Brad was playing it well, and where he messed up was the one step too far. Like, so I was thinking we can go to Cuba and do that getaway. We never did. And I'm like, Brad, no,
Reel it
you
in, reel
had
it
him.
in.
You almost had him.
Ah,
You were casual. Like you started, and I was like worried he was coming off
yeah.
strong, but then he went to walk away first. He was like, yeah, I just wanted you to know, like, so you didn't feel weird if we bumped into each other, showing that you didn't have these preconceived notions about what would happen. But they would have happened, Brad. They would have happened.
They would have, yes.
So he turns out to save the day for Ava.
Oh my gosh. I was going to say that was some of my favorite stuff when Lucas decides to join them for dinner and Ava's happy because she has her Lucas and he's on her important list. And Rick is like, well, I guess I'm not getting any tonight.
Yeah, that package that had a bow on it. The lines that came out of those scenes, I was like,
Whoa.
I rewound. I'm like, Donnie, you have to watch this. I'm like, she randomly asks if he likes early Christmas presents. Then he's all like, do you like them wrapped or unwrapped? And then I'm like, and then watch. I'm like, she's
So
talking about her body. Watch this. Like and then she grabs the bow. She's like, some unwrapped. I'm like, well, it's a flower. It's like not a bow. But I was
yes,
like,
yeah.
and I was
Logistics
trying
corner.
to exactly. So I'm trying to understand where this conversation came from. Like I was like, where did this
You're
come from?
so funny.
And then I'm like, so then it freaked me out because Sunny talks to Natalia and says this custody thing can go on forever because we both have a boatload of money and we'd have to be bankrupt. And then I'm like, and then all of a
um,
sudden she's bankrupt or she doesn't have money. But this is the thing. Like in Port Charles for years, they never like explicitly talked about money. You just knew who was rich and who had like all the shifts at the hospital.
yes.
And a vending machine that babysat their kids. So,
Yeah.
so when Sunny said that, the thing is, years ago, Ava actually talked about her money. So in
Okay.
this instance, she's saying like her everything's getting declined because the Cassadines took back her divorce settlement. But the thing is, she was rich before that,
Yes,
and she had
absolutely.
actually stated some of that. So not only has she been like like a gallerina and she owns her own gallery. She, was part of the Jerome crime family. But when her face got burnt in the fire,
Yeah.
she had actually said on one of the episodes that she got a huge settlement and has like money for life.
Okay. So she's all right. This is just a little blip.
So that's why. So I was like, did her business manager steal her money? Because I'm like, that would be nuts. Then that, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like what's
No,
happening
same.
and how much money does she not have? Like how poor is she? Like what does this mean? Because she said she wanted to buy a house. They're out having like a $600 dinner.
I was like, damn. It was a charcuterie board.
I know. And the thing is, like, she owns her own business, right? So, I mean, I'm just saying, what does the inheritance have to do with her ability to, let's say, pay for that? Like, I'm pretty sure she could pay for that without, like, that money. So, anyways, I'm not really sure where that's going.
But I love that she said, he's like, we're gonna have to do dishes. She's like, I don't do dishes at home.
I
I'm not
know
doing them here.
that was so funny. But yeah, I do love that Lucas sat down. I did love how happy she was about that. But at the
Yeah.
same time, when he like pulled a chair, I was like, yeah, this is all about new Lucas because old Lucas, I cannot see him being
No, same.
he was never casual. He was never
No.
casual. He was very brooding.
Yes.
He was a brooder.
I love it. But yes, new Lucas is definitely all in with his
He's a
A.
vibe. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a vibe for sure. And they bonded though. That conversation they had and being really open with each other. Like it makes sense
Yes.
for this Lucas, but no, it's not the way that they hired the new Lulu and she captured the old Lulu. This is like a
No,
new character completely.
it really is. Oh my goodness, did we cover all the things and talk about all this stuff?
Yes.
We did it. Woo woo. Okay, stars for everybody except for Cyrus, but Cyrus, he's good at being
And
evil and
Willow.
creepy. And Willow. We get
Oh
okay,
my
we have
gosh,
the
we didn't talk
minus.
about that. We
Okay, let's
totally
talk
didn't
about
talk
it.
about his stabbing. We talked about the fact that he died. So, real fast, I think it's Cyrus.
I think we touched on that earlier because Dax knew the timeline of the Sam killing. So, and then there was somebody with
But
a black
also,
jacket
but the
and the
bells
bell.
stop sounding. So if you go back and watch it, the whole time there's these annoying bells and they're loud in the
Yes,
background. And I think that's what Felicia's gonna remember. And now we know why. Like, there was Dex, and it
that
was
was
her. So she,
significant.
yeah, how significant it is that she figure it out because apparently he's going on a killing spree and we don't know who's next.
Exactly. Okay, we did that part. So, stars to everybody, minus star to Willow, a minus star to Cyrus, but everybody else, it was a jam-packed week full of all kinds of stuff.
Like I just want
And
to give like a
ooh,
big gold star to the fact that like we haven't had a whole like showdown in a long time, like a big secret reveal come out, a confrontation. I want more confrontation. Like, frankly, like Carly does it best. Like, let's just say it in terms of telling someone off.
oh
So I wish we
yes,
had more of that. Everyone else
putting it
tried.
out
I think
there.
they gave their best efforts. They were funny. They were funny.
Yes.
But I really wish she got to like blast Willow a lot longer and that Nina got into it a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I
missed
agree.
that. I will probably get our chance on Monday.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Well, have a great weekend, everybody. That's a wrap, folks. Bye.
Bye.